So we are extremely grateful for all of you for being here at the week with us today. So we are going to speak about empowering teens based on yoga, plant-based living, and manifestation for holistic growth. So I will have a few questions for our guests who will share their wisdom with us today. Beginning with Ms. Savita Krishnan. So how does manifestation enhance the benefits of yoga? Specifically, how does meditation enhance the benefits of yoga, specifically for teenagers, especially in managing stress, anxiety, or academic pressure?
Thank you, Madam. And thank you all for being here today in the afternoon. It's so wonderful to see you here. How many of you have teenagers, or who are all teenagers here? Yeah, I think the first question is, how many of you have teenagers? Yeah, many of us, right? And I have two teenagers too. So when we say word meditation means to be in the present moment, right? So the question is, how can meditation help the teenagers overcome the stress and anxiety and anxiousness? We may not call anxiety per se, but anxiousness is always there, right? So I have two teenagers that have said, there's always this thought of, especially in this age of social media and the connected world. I mean, the world is so very well connected now, right? So it should have brought peace, much more peace, but at the same time, it is really not, right? So there is more anxiousness, there is more depression. I am a yoga therapist. I'm a certified yoga therapist, so I see a lot of teenagers coming with different problems. Mainly the stress and anxiety is the first one. Overeating, bulimia, or anorexia. So a lot of these things are very, very common. So how meditation is very important for them is to help to be in the moment. Meditation means to be in the moment. So when you are in the moment, you can realize your full potential, as you saw in the nice, beautiful video that we watched. When you are in the moment, you can get that energy. But for teenagers, how do you tell them, right? So if you tell them, hey, sit and meditate, it will not be very convincing for them. So, and when we create these kind of avenues, when we have like, oh, that person is meditating, my other friend is meditating, my other friend is doing yoga. So in that way, these kind of avenues, these kind of coming together and making some, we call like a society, right? The pyramid meditation is a society. So meditation is definitely very important. And we teach yoga teacher training programs, yoga foundation course for students, for children who are 13 years to 16, 17 years. And we see a wonderful transformation in them. And some of them are going to become doctors, some of them are going to become like any healthcare professionals. So it's an amazing thing to add. And of course, the Ashtanga Yoga components, meditation is the last thing. Meditation is what we call as samadhi or absorption. So we start with some practices called yama-niyamas, where we practice certain do's and don'ts during any meetings, and then comes the postures, then comes the breath work, then comes the absorption. Actually, in the video, I'm referring back to that video where it's saying you have to cut off with the world. So all of these things are components of yoga, but definitely teenagers will definitely benefit. And once they experience, I think, like we like to do it again and again. We like something, like, I was drinking tea just now, and then, how the tea tastes like. So the mind wants to go back to that tea. So the same way, teenagers, once they enter, I'm sure they will start experiencing it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I really like the last line. line that you said, once you get to taste something and get used to it, and you keep wanting to come back to it, and that's where the discipline happens. Thank you so much. So our next question is to Victoria. Thank you for being here today. So how does meditation support discipline and focus in teens who are who are trying to choose plant-based, fitness-conscious lifestyle?
Hi everyone. First of all, it's great to be here for this cause. So let's start with how meditation enhances consciousness and concentration. Because we live in a world that we bombarded constantly with information, messages, and we need meditation. That's the very, very number one reason. And another reason is stress. Manage stress. We have bombarded with stress in our lives, and teenagers probably experience it more than anyone because their minds are not developed fully yet. So this is the very tool to turn to in meditation. And the third thing I would say is focus, right? So practicing just like you mentioned in being in the moment, this is being present, being here is very, very important, and goes along with self-acceptance, because I remember being a teenager and I had so many doubts in my mind, and when I started practicing meditation, I experienced a huge change and a difference. And so I would say these are very two important things for meditation. Food to that question. Okay.
Thank you so much. We really think, as you said, self-doubt is one of the biggest aspects of teenage life, and meditation does help with that. No matter what you want to try, I think meditation is the foundation for overcoming self-doubt, even get this discipline in certain aspect, including plant-based diet or bodybuilding aspect. Thank you. So our next question is to our third panelist, Elena. So how does meditation as a foundational tool in the manifestation process, especially for teens who are still discovering their identity and needs help?
Yeah, most definitely. So thank you again for having me as well. How is it a foundation for teens to start manifesting? You think about, we think 70 to 80,000 thoughts a day. And many times we say, stress and obligations and emails and pressures and deadlines and that. And there's a lot that is coming on to us. And unless we are able to harness our mind to be calm, to be in the present, to be allowing that foundation for information to come in. I've heard so many stories of people coming to ideas and inspired action during meditation. Why? Because the thoughts that are all around us are not interfering with what is coming through our inner self. So we must have a foundation of calm and being in the present moment to be able to hear what the universe is trying to tell us and how to manifest. Especially when we are younger. If we can practice when we are young and develop that habit as a good, solid foundation for that to happen, that's really what we want to do. So the younger you get, the better to develop these habits. So when you're a teen, you can practice it. When you're an adult, you can already have these practices developed. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. As you said, if we begin with younger, when we're younger, it always sets the tone for the rest of our lives. So that's a great point. So our next question is again to Ms. Savita. So how can parents and schools support teens in building a consistent yoga and meditation practice in a world that is full of distractions?
Yeah, actually, that is one of my personal dream also. Because whatever I see my children as they are growing up, 15 and 17, whatever they learn in the schools, they want to come and practice at home, right? Whatever they say, they want to come and talk to their other friends. So the learning begins in that education environment. And education environment, how many of you homeschool or anybody homeschools here? Not too many, at least here, not too many, but there are a lot of people who do homeschooling. So they have a choice of selecting what programs they want to do and all of that. But anyway, most of us, including me, we send our children to schools, right? So if the education system will adapt, whatever name it may be, if they don't like yoga, that's fine. If they like mindfulness, so be it, or meditation. So in the form of, or not even just take away the meditation word also, you can say just bringing your mind to the present. They have done a lot of studies, by the way, to show how as the child comes in, walks in, has some practices given to the child throughout the day to be able to help focus, help concentrate, just by bending forward. So when we do Shashankasana, which is child's pose breathing, just when you bend forward, when you sit down on your heels and then bend forward, it brings blood circulation towards the head region. How simple is that, right? Not, at least sitting on the chair and table, just bringing your head down, brings the blood circulation towards the head region. And having these breaks in between for them, and somebody was you were saying about when we inculcate these as a young age, right? At a young age. I'm not talking about the teens, even younger than that, right? So that makes it much more effective. And my children went to a charter school in California. So in one of the schools, their teacher my daughter was in the elementary, and one day she came back home and said, "Mom, we were yelling." "What? You were yelling? Okay. Where did you yell?" I was curious. No, my teacher took them to a fence, like outside the class, closer to the fence, and she said, "Okay, go ahead and yell at the top of your voice." Like, wow, isn't that a good technique? So they have this restless energy. They yell and then they come back, and then it's a beautiful thing. So have some form of things in the school which we all can make a difference. We all as parents can go and sort of lobby in our own ways, right? Like in a PTA, POs, and then say that we want something like this in our schools. So that will definitely help children to not feel that they are, oh, I'm meditating means it should not be a taboo, right? Or I'm doing yoga should not be a taboo. So it should be like, feel good. Hey, meditation is cool, not COOL, KOOL, right? So you want to make meditation to be cool, yoga to be cool, having plant-based diet and all that mindfulness that we talk about should be cool. But I'm very happy to see I came to US in 1998, long ago. So then if you would talk yoga, people would just, look at you like, really, you do yoga? And now, if I say I do yoga, they look you like as if you are, so that transformation has already happened. We are already at an edge where we can just take off from there. So that's where we are. You're all very, very fortunate. I feel being part of something like this, Sangha, this group, is a very fortunate thing. So don't take it for granted and influence each other. So the schools will eventually adapt. That's what I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Savita. I think you touched a very crucial point of meditation, yoga, or plant-based living. Of this being a taboo, and if these are introduced in schools, if they get generalized more, and that's where us as parents can do our best in making schools implement this and make it like a regular thing for available and accessible to everyone. So thank you so much. So next question is for Victoria. So can you share how your own plant-based journey, your body image, your strength and mental clarity has improved with your plant-based adaptation that might inspire our teens here?
Well, I'm definitely evolving, like you know. You are what you eat, right? Well, kinda. You are what you eat and what you digest. So, as we evolving, what the organization since I think it was 1 year, 1999. So I see a huge difference in awareness of what we put in our body, what we eat. And I cannot emphasize enough how important the food you put in your body is to your mind, and especially when you're a young person, teenager, growing up, your mind, your brain is still growing. So if you're not supported, one of my favorite quotes comes from Thomas Edison, which is I strongly believe I start all my transformations, client journey with this quote, and it goes like this: the future of medicine will not, the future of medicine will not give people drugs, but rather prevent it with nutrition. So, as we become more and more aware, we are changing the lifestyle, and especially since a young age, since you're a teenager, you need to become. English, sorry, English is my still second language, like most of you. So the more you become aware, my personal transformation was I was overweight, and I had inflammation in my body. And since I've started eating more colorful fruits and vegetables, I've started losing weight. I started training more. One of the things, actually, two main things happen when you bring your awareness to what you put in your body. You actually, let me rephrase it. So basically, plain diet helps you focus on training as well, on exercise, because what you're doing is it's in the world promoted exercise and clean eating, right? So as I started training, I started seeing a difference. My body started changing. My muscle became stronger. My bones, so phytonutrients, vitamin helped to densify my bones. So I felt stronger in my body, in my mind. I started competing and training clients. And basically, I experience every day the power of plant-based diet. And then what it does also is I've noticed how much, before when I was concentrating on protein and rice, it's just, 1, 2, 3 items, right? And then when I started being more aware and putting more plant-based on my plate, and it's just this variety of colors and everything. So it's like now rice is the protein. Now chickpea is the protein, and there's so much variety that like opened my mind literally to how important and how much we're missing. When we adjust, especially with the standard American diet, focusing if you're eating at McDonald's and eating hamburgers, it declines your cognitive function, and it doesn't really work for our bodies. Our bodies don't, like I said, what God already put on this earth, we meant to live, and our body recognize this. And as I'm evolving, as I'm training, I'm definitely thinking more clear. Right now, I'm a little bit nervous being in front of you guys. I'm not open in front of many people. I train one-on-one clients, so I'm a little bit nervous. But it's definitely helps me feel better, think better. My body changed a lot since. I was overweight, probably 35 pounds, and then it doesn't happen in one day, but as it progresses, it's you feel, you think clearly, and then you have enough energy throughout the day, because that's another aspect is I hear my clients saying, "Oh, I don't have enough energy. I'm always tired. I'm always tired." Well, that's where the food comes in. You are what you eat and what you digest, and it's important to not only love the food you eat, but also make sure that the food you eat loves you back. And unfortunately, there is so much variety out there that creates inflammation. It might taste good, but it doesn't feel good in your body. And then as a bodybuilding community, people constantly saying, well, how is it clean eating is tastes like it doesn't taste good? And I completely disagree with it. You can make so much. You can make food taste so good. You can bring all the variety of colorful plants and legumes, and and it's I cook myself. I advocate for cooking as well. So in my practice, I see a lot of changes, and as we continue to evolve and continue to share this information and become aware, that's it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I think the key takeaway that you started off with It's not just what you eat, but what you digest is the foundation for it. And as you said, we need to eat our rainbows, eat all the different colors, and also be someone, for someone being from the bodybuilding community, which is like full of protein, the focus is on protein, and you're switching to plant-based. Your journey has been really inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. This afternoon. So our next question is to Elena. So many teens, as we've discussed, struggle with self-doubt. So how can they use mindful manifestation techniques to build self-belief and attract positive outcomes?
It is not just the teens that suffer from self-doubt. Raise your hand if you have heard of the author Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich is what most people know, the book. But he has written also a book called Outwitting the Devil. And it all talks about self-doubt, fear, and how that really affects how we think. And so, Ivan here was mentioning fear before, and we have to face it. And it's usually actually fear is the very answer that you should follow and go through and bust through that to eliminate. You can't eliminate self-doubt. Everyone has it, but push through it. And it's actually the direction that we should follow. And use science on your side. It's called reticular activating system. As soon as you start noticing something, you see more of that. I experienced when I first got pregnant. And I'm like, wow, she's pregnant. Where are all of these pregnant people around me? I've never noticed it. Why? Because I wasn't paying attention to it until I was pregnant myself. And that's when I started to notice all the pregnant women around me. Because of reticular activating system. So to overcome self-doubt is to follow that fear that we have. Okay, I can't do this, and just push through it. Get the courage to do it, practice it. The more you do it, the more you're going to get more comfortable. But what is important is to celebrate your wins. So if you have a fear of public speaking and feel some nerves, getting on the stage and doing it, and then after you finish, say, you know what? I wasn't comfortable, but I did it. Yes. Every single time you celebrate and you congratulate yourself for overcoming that fear or self-doubt, you are actually a step closer to overcoming that fear. I want to mention something that you were talking about. We are what we eat. We are what we think. People don't think about this. So in my company, Figonity, we focus on food, body, and mind. And we do not realize that we have the power to self-generate through these practices. And disease is not only we eat, but what we think. Every time we have a self-doubt thought, that's destructive to us. And just pitching ourselves like, I have this thought, and then trying to reverse it and say something different about it. I went to a Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat. Who's been here to a retreat or heard about Joe Dispenza? A few of you. There was a young man. He was in his 20s. He ate well. He exercised. He looked great. He looked amazing. He had muscles like you would never think that this guy said. And he was fighting for his life. And the doctors had no idea what was really going on with him. And it was his thoughts that were making him sick. It's really crazy. You said it. We are at the edge of an era of awakening, of people really realizing how much power we have through food, through exercise, through our thoughts, for our bodies to thrive. And that's just the beginning. There is way more that we are capable of overcoming that self-doubt and fears and creating something beautiful if we know how to work it. And there is science, modern science and quantum physics that is starting to prove that. So anyway, I just thought that I threw that in because it's amazing what our bodies are capable of, and it really starts with what we eat, how we move, and what we think.
Thank you so much, Elena. I truly resonate with that. The words that you said, fear is an illusion, and self-doubt is a form of fear. And the biggest takeaway is that we need to celebrate more of our wins, not just when you get to a prestigious college, but on an everyday basis, when you're able to push yourself, even adults, even as adults, when we're able to push ourselves beyond that self-doubt, we need to celebrate our wins, and also that helps with rewriting of the self-doubt and fears. Thank you so much. We enjoyed hearing your experience, your wisdom this afternoon. What a great heartfelt exchange of wisdom. A big round of applause for our panelists. We can take one question from the audience if anybody has a question related to your teams or anything around any of these topics.
So I want to ask, what would you guys recommend is the best way to stay consistent? Because I hear great ideas, but I feel like with busy lives, it's hard to stay.
Sure, yeah. So that is actually what I do, is building habits. And how do you do that? Think about it. When you started to, or wanting to work out, okay, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't feel like it today. If you signed up for a class, did you show up? If you actually went and RSVP'd, yes, I'm coming to this class, or said, hey, your friend and I are going to get together as a group. Can we go ahead and do it? Did you show up then? It's accountability and community. And that is what I am building for people that really want to do this work and be consistent. It's about accountability and community. Everything is better in numbers. Energy is infectious. If you feel that someone is happy, all of a sudden you have a smile on your face. How is that possible? It carries. Everything carries. So everything is better in community. And if you have the accountability, you will do it. And it's baby steps. It's those small wins. When you can just do it. So Atomic Habits by James Clear, the book, it talks about 1% a day. And if you can do that baby step every single day, that it compounds. And even if you set out that you're going to run, and you hate running, but I'm going to do it. So I'm going to put my clothes ready the next day, for the next day. Just the fact that you got your clothes ready is a baby step. You may not have made it out and run, but you got your clothes ready. So then you start again the next day. Then you get dressed. And you celebrate that win. Exactly. And you're like, okay, well, I might not have made it out there yet, but I got my clothes. Then you get dressed the next day. And then your phone rings and you get distracted and still didn't make it out. Well, you know what? I made that baby step to get dressed now. So I got that down. And then you try again. And you try again. And celebrating every single baby step counts. And then it compounds, and all of a sudden, you're going to start to see results. It's like exercise, right? You go to a gym, you start working out and lifting some weights. You don't expect your muscles to start growing immediately, even if you do the exercise, right? It's the baby steps you take every single day. And if you can make that one baby step a day, it will continue to compound over time. And if you're in a community of people that do the same and celebrate you, and you celebrate and keep going and encourage yourself, you will get there, for sure.
Well, I would say journaling is a great thing. If you write down your results and you read them, and then So, and I like what you said about 1%, that's in Atomic Habit by James Clear. If you read this book, it's an amazing, beautiful book. It talks about improving everything 1%, 1%, 1%. He brings an example of a British cycling team that never won the competition before. And then the new coach came in and he started implementing this practice of 1%. And they started improving the team 1% each aspect of your life, basically. So you go, your food, what am I, okay, I'm eating a lot of junk, what am I adding today? Not even not necessarily subtracting, adding what nutritious food I'm adding to my plate today. What, like if I just started going to the gym, what another improvement can I add? How, if I'm recovering, so if you're recovering and you sleep, maybe I can go to bed a little bit earlier, so, and journaling, it's a really great thing to track your results. And it builds up on itself, so little by little, it becomes just, you won't be able to, when you look back at how much you've done, when it adds up, you won't be able to, even if like sometimes, we all have bad days, we all have days when we break down mentally, physically, so you just, that happens, it's okay, you allow that to happen, next day you wake up and then you go again, and you continue, next step, so I think that's empowering too, because I didn't even realize how much. Here I have a public speaking like in front of a lot of people. I have to practice that more. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow.
Yeah, very nice. I think you have shared quite a bit. Journaling is one such thing that we also ask our participants to do. And there are a couple of things I would like to add. A very nice question. Even I struggle, all of us struggle with this. How do I keep consistency to my practice? Anything that we adopt. I'm turning 50 this year and I have started learning Indian classical music when I turned 50. So that's, and now the question is, how do I be consistent, right? So I have to practice, I have to do that, and all that. So the person who asked is a teenager looks like, right? So I think the first thing is to have a good group around you, right? So in yoga, we say we don't have a bigger group, by the way. When you come to yoga and you do all these plant-based diet and all of that, you will not attract that kind of group by the way. So some people, because you cannot do a whole lot of social meetings when you say, oh, I'm eating plant-based diet, and the other person is saying, oh, this lady is so boring for them, right? So that's why your group will start becoming small. But at the same time, you will have a very good group, that sangha that you create around you. So attract good people who can motivate you. Maybe you have done 15 days of consistent things, but the 16th day you have stopped. Your friend will call you and say, hey, what happened? You have started that new thing, remember? So that's one thing. And secondly, how long one should practice? I mean, this whole revised meditation movement is all about plant-based diet, meditation, and pyramid energy. So, how long should you practice? The scriptures say, yogic texts, classical yogic text, one of the texts called Patanjali Yoga Sutra says, Dirghakalam Nirantarya. Dirghakalam is for a very long time and continuous. How long? Can you practice 20 years? Very difficult, right? 2 years itself is very difficult. So, these two things and all of the wonderful stuff that other panelists share here, have good people around you, continue to practice regardless. Sometimes you may not have that mind or your body might not be very good in continuing your practice. But practice something. For meditation, even if you are sick, you can practice meditation. Isn't it? Even if you are sick, you can lie down on your bed and then you can practice meditation. That is possible. So continue the practice, long time and continuous, and have a good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think the three key takeaways from this discussion is meditation, celebrate your wins, both as adults and also pushing our children to celebrate their wins. Every small win counts. And also community, coming together. And all of you being part of this discussion today really shows that. Thank you so much.